Hey, so tonight we're going to explore something most history books barely mention. The lives of women who worked in Victorian brothels. I know it sounds unusual for a bedtime tale, but truthfully, it's a deeply compelling fragment of overlooked history. Real women navigating a harsh world, just trying to survive. Oh, and if you're enjoying these journeys, I'd genuinely appreciate a like or a subscription. I'm always amazed by where people tune in from, so drop a comment with your city and the local time. It truly blows my mind to imagine folks drifting off to this all across the planet. Alright, find that cozy position, take a slow, steady breath, and let your body gently melt into whatever you're lying on. We're going back to Victorian London, and trust me, you're going to be very grateful for that mattress by the time this is over. So, congratulations. You've just woken up in London, 1857, right at the height of the Victorian age. It's early, perhaps 5 or 6 in the morning. And no, you're not in a lavish four-poster bed. You're lying on a slightly uneven horsehair mattress, wrapped in a thin woolen blanket. The sheets not fresh, changed once a week, if you're lucky. They still carry the faint scent of cheap lavender, water meant to mask, but failing to hide the underlying mustiness. The room is cold. Coal for the fireplace is strictly rationed, especially in these early hours. Faded floral wallpaper peels at the corners, where dampness creeps in like a quiet ghost. There's a smell. It lingers, a blend of coal smoke from countless chimneys. The scent of the nearby Thames, muddy, rich, and faintly foul. And a sweeter, artificial note, the perfumes and powders of the trade. You're in a room at the back of a brothel, near the Haymarket area of London. Not the worst house by far, but certainly not one of the upscale ones either. You share this modest space with another woman. She's still asleep, her breathing soft and even. When you shift, the mattress creaks beneath you, a sound as familiar as your own sigh. You stretch your legs, toes pointing, tension lengthening and releasing. That's good, that little moment, just before the day begins. Outside, the city is already stirring. The clatter of cartwheels, the rhythmic clop of horses over cobblestones. A voice, fresh bred, rings out from a few blocks away, bouncing between the buildings. This is your life. They call you Mary here. It's not the name your mother gave you, but it's the one that's stuck. You've been at this house nearly 2 years now, which makes you something of a constant presence. You've seen girls arrive and vanish. Some moved up. Some sank back into the poverty they came from. Some never recovered from the work. You sit up slowly, the blanket pulls at your waist. Your bare feet pressed against the icy wooden floor. You reach for your wool shawl draped over the bedpost and wrap it tightly around your shoulders. Better, warmer. On the small table between beds sits a chipped ceramic pitcher. Inside the basin, the water has iced over a glassy film on the surface. London winters are unforgiving. You break the ice with your fingertip. The water stings as you splash it on your face. Sharp, cold. It jolts you fully awake. Your breath catches then, steadies. So how did you end up here, in this room, this life? Because your story, Mary, it's not the one people expect. You weren't kidnapped. You weren't sold. Not like some girls were. Not like the youngest. Taken before they even understood the world. You weren't seduced and abandoned by some gentleman either. That tale of betrayal and shame is common. Yes, but not yours. No, your path was quieter, more typical than most might believe. You were a seamstress, a skilled one, quick fingers, a keen eye. But London had hundreds, thousands of women just like you, all scrambling for the same meager jobs. The British Quarterly once remarked that, compared to a dressmaker's life, factory work was almost playful, and they weren't wrong. You worked 14, sometimes 16 hours a day, eyes strained in poor light, fingers raw and bleeding in the bitter cold, and all for wages that barely kept a roof above your head. You lean back now, let the wall support you. Take a deep breath, roll your shoulders. Let that tension ease. That's better. You remember the turning point clearly. It was a winter 3 years ago. You hadn't eaten in 2 days. Your tiny rented room was freezing. Your breath hung in the air like mist. You were sewing fast, trying to finish a commission that might, just might, pay for a week's shelter. Your fingers were so numb you kept pricking them with the needle. Tiny red dots appeared on the crisp white linen. Then Jane came, a girl you used to work with. She looked different, healthier, better fed. She wore a wool dress knot, fashionable perhaps, but clean and warm. She brought food, hot food, a meat pie, still steaming. She sat with you while you ate, trying not to look too hungry, trying not to seem as desperate as you felt. "There's a place," she said, "a house near Haymarket. Strict but fair. No cruelty. 2 meals a day, a decent bed, and medical checks." Every week she paused, watching your expression. You'd make in one night what you earn in a week here, Mary, and you wouldn't be killing yourself over this. She gestured toward the heap of sewing. You didn't answer immediately. You'd been raised properly in a quiet, God-fearing home. But your parents were gone. Your brothers scattered across the country, chasing work. And there you were, slowly fading, one stitch at a time. That memory still presses against you. You feel yourself sinking deeper into the mattress. Your breath softens, in and out. Just like that, the house is starting to stir now. You hear footsteps on the stairs. Heavy ones, probably Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper. There's the clatter of coal being shoveled, the low crackle of a fire being coaxed to life downstairs in the parlor where the clients wait. The scent of coffee, Riz's real coffee, not chicory. This house prides itself on little comforts. Your roommate stirs. She mumbles something unintelligible and rolls over. Lily, that's what they call her here. She's younger than you, maybe 19 to your 24. Auburn hair that the gentlemen seem to adore. She once told you she came from a mill in Manchester, said the roar of the looms left her half deaf in one ear. Time to get up properly. You've got a routine to follow, expectations to meet. Mrs. Winters runs a strict house. Being late is not tolerated. The Madam Mrs. Cartwright, when spoken to directly, though the girls call her Carty, behind closed doors expects everyone downstairs, presentable, by noon. The brothel runs like a finely tuned watch. Mornings are for cleaning, bathing, and rest. Afternoons bring a trickle of regulars, usually businessmen, slipping away during a long lunch. Evenings and nights. That's when the house comes alive. Often busy until the stars fade, but now right, now it's still early, still quiet, and you take your time. You reach for the tin on the bedside table. Inside, a tiny piece of beeswax. You warm it between your hands, then gently smooth it across your dry lips, a small indulgence. Mrs. Cartwright insists the girls care for themselves. "You're selling a dream," she always says. Gentlemen don't want to see the truth of a working woman's life. You find yourself nodding slightly at the memory. It's solid advice. Most men who visit don't come for reality. They come for illusion, for comfort, for power, or just to be seen if only for a moment. You rise and stretch, arms reaching upward. Your body lengthens gently, a pleasant pull in your back and shoulders. The cotton nightdresser, plain thing, nothing like the satin you wear during work hours, falls softly around your ankles. You walk over to the small wardrobe. During the day, when you're not receiving guests, you wear everyday clothing, a simple dress, sensible shoes, nothing that marks you out from the other women walking the city. That's important. Brothels themselves aren't illegal, but soliciting in public, the police usually leave established houses alone, especially those that pay their dues. Still, discretion is essential. You choose a dark blue dress, slightly faded, but well cared for. You lay it across the bed. Getting dressed is a slower process in the morning. Later, you might change garments quickly between visitors, but now you savor the process. Stockings first, then the petticoat, then the corset, not tight, just firm enough to give structure. As you dress, you think about what lies ahead. It's Tuesday, usually quiet. Perhaps a few regulars will visit. Mr. Phillips, the bank clerk, comes every other week. He mostly wants to talk. He collects stamps and tells you about them with careful pride. Or maybe the shy young man who calls himself Smith. He never stays more than 15 minutes. Outside, the sounds of London are growing. Children run past below the window. Their high-pitched laughter cuts through the hum of the street. A dog barks. Somewhere nearby, a vendor begins his sing-song call, knives to grind. Knives to grind. The normality of it all still surprises you sometimes. This life, this work, that so many call shameful or ruined. It flows right alongside everything else. The baker brings bread to your door, just as he does to the respectable lodgers next door. The coalman, the iceman, they all stop here. Same as anywhere else. You sit again on the edge of the bed and just breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Steady, quiet. That's it. A knock at the door. Light, almost shy, hot. Water, miss, a voice, young Betsy. She's the maid of all work, only 13. Too young for the house's core business. Mrs. Cartwright took her in last year. Found her begging outside, dirty and half-starved. Now she runs errands, helps the housekeeper, and sleeps in a tiny room off the kitchen. In time, she may join the other girls. But for now, she's protected, which is more than most street children can hope for. "Come in, Betsy," you say. The door opens. She enters, holding a large jug of steaming water. Her face is clean, hair neatly braided. "Morning, Miss Mary," she says, with a little smile. She speaks brightly, pouring the steaming water into your basin. "Cold one today. Mrs. Winters says there might be snow later." "Thank you, Betsy," you say, offering a soft smile. "Have you had your breakfast yet?" "Yes, Miss Cook made porridge with treacle. There's coffee in the kitchen if you want some, and fresh bread, too." This is another quiet reason why this house is better than most. There are regular meals, real food. In the worst brothels, girls might go hungry if business is slow-fed, scraps barely suitable even for animals. But here, Mrs. Cartwright knows something simple. Healthy girls bring in more profit. Betsy slips out, and you wash with the warm water. It feels lovely against your skin. The ritual is grounding. Face first, then neck, arms, underarms, and a quick rinse of the most private areas. Bathing in full happens twice a week, here Wednesdays and Sundays in the big copper tub they haul into the kitchen. That's more often than many respectable working class women can manage. Once you've finished, you feel more like yourself. Again, you comb through your hair dark, thick, falling halfway down your back when loose. For now, you twist it into a simple knot at the nape of your neck. Later, you'll style it more formally, maybe with that artificial piece that gives you added volume and soft curls. There's a small mirror on the dresser. Its silver backing is speckled with age. You glance at your reflection. Your face looks better than it did back in your sewing days. Consistent meals have softened the harsh lines. Color has returned to your cheeks, but your eyes, those have changed. More cautious now, more knowing. You've seen things, learned things the innocent country girl you once were never even imagined. You pushed the thoughts aside. No use lingering there. You finish dressing, lacing your boots with quick, efficient fingers. Each movement is practiced, familiar. Your breath evens out again, slow, calm. You're ready for the day. First comes breakfast, then household duties. Each girl has her own. Yours include dusting the parlor and polishing the glasses behind the tiny bar. Mrs. Cartwright doesn't allow idleness. She says it leads to trouble. Even without customers, the house hums with quiet activity. Lily finally stirs for real. She sits up with a long yawn, pushing a messy curtain of hair from her face. Morning, she mutters. What time is it? Just past 7. You tell her. Plenty of time. She nods, stretching her arms above her head. Had that dream again, she says. The one about the seaside. She nods. Have you ever been, Mary, to the sea? Once, you say, the memory surfacing. A family trip long ago. Brighton. You were very young. I'd like to go someday. Lily says, voice soft with longing. They say the air's different there. Clean. You can breathe properly. It's a common dream in houses like this. To save up enough to escape London. To start again. Some manage it, most don't. The money that seems good at first disappears quickly. Some goes to lodging and meals. Some to clothing or tools for the job. Some too little comforts that help make the life bearable. You will, you tell her. Even if you don't quite believe it. Keep putting something aside each week. Even just a shilling. It adds up. She nods again, but you both know the truth. Saving is hard. There's always something, a toothache needing a doctor, a dress ruined beyond repair, a friend who's run out of luck. Life has a way of swallowing whatever bit of cushion. You try to build, a flicker of weight passes through you at the thought, but you let it go. You exhale slowly. Your shoulders drop. That's better. Just easy now. I'll see you downstairs, you tell Lily, who's finally swinging her legs out of bed. Don't be too long, you add. Mrs. Winters was stomping around earlier, and you know what that means. Lily grimaces. Oh, she's in one of those moods. I'll hurry, Lily says, stretching one last time. You leave the room, closing the door gently behind you. The narrow hallway is dim, lined with worn carpet that runs its length like a faded ribbon. There are 4 other bedrooms on this floor, all similar in size and style to yours. Downstairs lie the shared spaces, the parlor where guests are received, a small dining room, the kitchen, and tucked quietly at the back, the servants' quarters. The best bedroom belongs to Mrs. Cartwright. It's on the ground floor, strategically placed so she can keep an eye on everyone who comes and goes. The house is narrow but tall, sandwiched tightly between others on a quiet side street. From the outside, it appears entirely proper. Clean lace curtains in the windows, a freshly painted door. Nothing marks it as anything but respectable. No red lights, no obvious signals. Customers find their way here through whispers, a note passed in a club, a quiet mention in the back pages of certain papers, or a knowing nod from a cab driver who earns a small commission for the favor. As you descend the stairs, the scent of coffee grows stronger. It mingles with baking bread and the savory hint of frying bacon. Your stomach growls quietly in response. The wooden stairs creak underfoot, a sound that feels almost comforting now. You run your hand along the polished banisters smoothed from years of use. The house is warming steadily as fires are lit one by one throughout the main rooms. That ever-present London chill begins to soften at least in here. You hear the housekeeper's voice drifting from the kitchen, giving instructions. To the cook, the ordinary sounds of a household waking up. And for just this moment, it could be any house, anywhere, any life. There's a rhythm to the morning, a steady beat that carries you forward, gentle, predictable, each step a part of the dance. You've learned by heart. You feel yourself falling into it, breathing in sync. Inhale, exhale, soft and steady. At the bottom of the stairs, you pause. Just for a moment, letting your muscles relax fully, your mind quiet. Despite everything, despite where you are. What you do, there's a strange peace in simply being here. Alive, present, still breathing in a city that swallows so many whole. The kitchen door is open. Golden light spills into the hall, flickering, like warmth itself. You catch sight of the cook at the stove, her broad back turned as she stirs something heavy in a pot. Betsy is in the corner, carefully setting the table where the girls and staff eat together. Mrs. Winters sits nearby, reading a letter, her spectacles balanced delicately on her nose. Her grey hair is tucked neatly beneath her cap. It's a quiet, almost tender scene, a simple moment of calm before the tangle of the day unfolds. You take a long breath, let your lungs fill completely, and exhale, slow, deliberate. Your shoulders drop, tension rolling off you like water slipping down a stone. You're ready now. You step forward into the kitchen's warmth, into the mingled aromas of bread and smoke and fresh coffee, into the soft hum of voices, the shuffle of plates, the gentle clink of cutlery. Bacon sizzles in the pan. Its scent makes your mouth water slightly. Your stomach rumble again with quiet impatience. "Morning, Mary," says the cook, still facing. A way she always knows who's coming, just from the sound of their steps. "Well enough," you reply, and begin helping Betsy set the table. The routine soothes you. The familiar weight of the plate, the practiced order of forks and knives. Your hands move on their own now. Your mind drifts freely, not quite thinking, not quite dreaming. Outside, the city continues to rise. A church bell tolls gently in the distance. Voices call in the street vendors, neighbors, children. The endless hum of London growing louder, like breath in and out. Like waves at that far-off seaside, Lily dreams of Dot. Lily dreams of the seaside, of salty air and blue waves rising and falling, rising and falling. That gentle rhythm mirrors your own breathing now, as you move through the kitchen, relaxed and steady. You help prepare breakfast alongside the others. There's comfort in the familiarity of it. In the warmth of the fire, the clink of dishes, the low murmur of voices. The smell of fresh bread intensifies as the cook removes a loaf from the oven. Its crust is golden and crisp, crackling faintly as it begins to cool on the table. The kitchen. Table is large and rectangular, worn smooth with time and countless meals. 8 chairs are tucked around it just enough for the 5 girls currently in the house, plus Mrs. Winters, Betsy, and cook. Mrs. Cartwright takes her meals in her private sitting room. Always has. She says it helps preserve proper boundaries. At a dignified distance, you take your usual place at the table, the wood familiar beneath your fingers. The seat has been molded over time by others before you. There's a strange comfort in that. A shared history etched into furniture. Cook places a heavy pot of porridge in the center, with a solid thud. It's real porridge, thick, creamy, made with milk, not water, sweetened with treacle, another small indulgence that sets this house apart. Eat up while it's hot, cook says, wiping her forehead. She's a widow in her 50s, came here after losing her husband. Never says much about the work, just cooks, and makes sure the girls are well fed. She's firm in her belief. Good food is the first step to good health. You scoop a generous portion into your bowl. Steam curls up, fragrant and inviting. You take a bite, hot, smooth, sweet. You close your eyes, just for a second, to savor it. The other girls begin to arrive. One by one, past comes Emily Tiny, fair-haired and always quick with a smile. She's been here 6 months. Next is Serolda, nearing 30, sharp and efficient. She keeps the books in order for Mrs. Cartwright. Then Josepha, newest of all, still adjusting. Her eyes often red in the mornings, though she tries not to let it show. Finally, Lily appears. Her hair's pinned hastily. She looks half asleep as she slides into the chair beside you. Nearly missed breakfast. You whisper, passing her the porridge pot. Worth it for 10 more minutes in bed, she murmurs back, lips curling in. A tired smile. The coffee is passed around next. Real coffee. Strong and dark. Not the weak, bitter substitute so common in working-class homes. It's hot and fragrant, sweetened with sugar for those who want it. You cradle the cup with both hands. Its warmth spreads through your fingers, grounding you. The aroma rises with the steam, rich and slightly bitter in a good way. Breakfast is a quiet affair. There's a house rule unspoken, but firm. No talk of business this early. Instead, the conversation wanders. The weather, a funny story about the butcher's boys slipping in the alley. Speculation about the grocer's wife might. She'll be expecting again. Simple talk. Everyday things. The kind of chatter that echoes around breakfast tables all over London. And that normalcy matters. It reminds you that, in the end, this is still a home, a place where people eat, sleep, wake up tired, and complain. About the weather, you let yourself lean into it. Your shoulders drop slightly, your breath deepens. The porridge fills you. Solid, satisfying. You sip your coffee slowly, savoring every warm, slightly bitter mouthful. Then, breakfast ends. The rhythm shifts again. Time for the day's work. The house runs like a clock, each girl with her assigned duties. Not just for order, but because Mrs. Cartwright believes that routine keeps things running and keeps trouble at bay. Today, your tasks are simple. Dust the parlor. Polish the glasses in the little bar. Repetitive, quiet tasks that leave your mind free to wander, even while your hands stay busy. There's something quietly meditative about this kind of work. The steady motion, the slow, satisfying shift from dusty to clean, from dull to shining. It's not glamorous, but it has rhythm, and rhythm, here, is everything. The parlor is the main public room of the house, the first place customers see. It's furnished to look respectable, with the softest hints of luxury. Solid dark wood chairs, upholstered in red velvet, worn, smooth at the edges, but still comfortable. Heavy curtains in a matching shade, pulled back to let in what little sunlight can push through. London's cold-drenched haze. The walls hold a few carefully chosen paintings, mostly landscapes. One scene hints at the classic Le Feu draped, nymphs lounging by a stream, just enough to suggest refinement. Nothing explicit. Nothing that would make someone say, of course, a brothel. That's intentional. The appearance of propriety protects everyone. If a police officer were to enter, there'd be nothing obviously illicit, just a home, with several women in residence. Perhaps suspicious, but not illegal. You begin your dusting. The feather duster handles the broad surfaces, first shelves, mantel, side tables. Then comes the damp cloth for the details. You move slowly, thoughtfully, each motion familiar, each object tended to with care. It requires just enough focus to occupy your hands, but not so much that your mind can't drift in the background. The house breathes around you. Mrs. Winters instructs Betsy something about how to properly black the kitchen range. Cook hums softly, off-key, as she kneads dough for another batch of bread. Overhead, you hear Lily moving about, light footsteps as she tucks sheets and fluffs pillows. Just an ordinary household, or so it sounds. You reach the mantelpiece. There's a china shepherdess with a delicate painted face, a small brass clock ticking steadily. To urns purely decorative, you dust them gently, returning each to its exact spot. Mrs. Cartwright always knows if anything is even slightly out of place. Through the lace-covered window, a fragment of city. Life unfolds. A maid next door beats a rug in a small yard. A cat tiptoes along a garden wall, tail high. A boy rushes by, a message clutched tight in one hand. You turn now to the modest bar tucked into the corner of the room. It's not lavish, just a cabinet of polished wood, containing a few bottles and a line of glasses. Most customers are offered a glass of sherry or brandy upon arrival, a small ritual, a moment of ease before expectations begin. Even unused, the glasses gather film. London's air leaves its mark on everything. You take them one by one, hold each to the light, breathe softly onto the surface, then wipe in slow, careful circles with a soft cloth. A faint squeak as the glass clears. The dim room reflected back in tiny curved mirrors. The motion becomes a kind of meditation, round and round. Inhale as you begin the circle. Exhale as you complete it. Your breath falls into rhythm with your hands, slow, even intentional. Your fingers know the weight, the fragility. How much pressure is too much? How much is just right? Time passes, the light through. The window shifts gradually, casting soft patterns across the rug. Your thoughts wander but gently. Nothing pressing, nothing sharp. You think of the afternoon ahead, of the book you've been reading in small, stolen moments, Dickens, the latest one. Sarah lent it to you. She gets them from a customer who owns a bookshop. You think of the ribbon you might buy if this week goes well, something pale blue. Perhaps to tie your hair, simple thoughts. Near things, you've learned not to dwell on what's behind you. nor to reach too far ahead. This life teaches presence, hour by hour, moment by moment. The sound of the front door opening pulls you gently back. A man's steps heavy, certain echo in the hallway. Then Mrs. Cartwright's voice, quieter than usual, more formal. "Good morning, Doctor. Thank you for coming so promptly. It's Wednesday examination day. Every week, like clockwork, the doctor visits to check the girls for signs of illness. It's one of Mrs. Cartwright's most unyielding rules, and a major reason why her house keeps its good reputation. In other brothels, disease spreads quickly, quietly, devastatingly endangering both the women and their clientele. But here, any girl showing symptoms is removed from duty immediately and treated. It's expensive, yes, but it protects the business in the long run. You finish polishing the final glass, its surface now gleaming softly in the grey light. You place it back in the cabinet, carefully. The arrival of the doctor shifts the usual rhythm of the day. Examinations will take up most of the morning. Mrs. Cartwright's sitting room becomes a makeshift consulting space. Each girl is seen, alone. Notes are taken in a small leather notebook she keeps locked away when not in use. You return the polishing cloth to the kitchen. Inside, Mrs. Winters is now overseeing Betsy, who's working through a pile of vegetables, carrots and onions, chopped steadily for the midday stew. Their earthy scent mingles with the rising smell of yeast from the proving bread. Parlour's finished. You tell Mrs. Winters, "Shall I help here until he's ready for me?" She glances up, inspecting Betsy's knife work. No need. He's seeing Josephine first, then Lily. You've time to do your washing, if you like. Personal laundry is a private task, each girl responsible for her own items. Undergarments, cloths, stockings. The laundress comes only for the larger pieces sheets, towels, uniforms. Wednesdays are laundry days. You fetch your small basket from the cupboard near the back door and carry it into the scullery. It's cooler here, stone floor, large sink. You pump cold water into a copper basin, then pour in hot water from the stove to temper it. There's something deeply grounding about washing. The movement of hands in warm water. The shift from soiled to clean. You scrub methodically, soap foaming beneath your fingers. The water turns cloudy. Tiny iridescent bubbles float and break. This quiet task gives your mind space to wander. The doctor's visit always brings reflection. It reminds you of the cost of this life. The risks no one speaks of in polite company. You've seen it before. A girl coughing more and more, despite resting. A sore that refuses to heal. The unspoken signs that mark a girl's departure. Some are taken to hospitals, if they're lucky. Others vanish quietly. You try not to think about the worst outcomes. So far, you've been lucky. Careful, Mrs. Cartwright enforces precautions with all customers. Not perfect, but better than nothing. The weekly exams help catch problems early. Asterisk still. You know how fragile that luck is. Most women last only a few years before something happens. It's a trade-off. Certainty of poverty in other work versus the possibility of illness here. You wring out the last piece, a soft cotton chemise, twisting it tight. Your arms flex slightly with the effort. There's something satisfying in the feeling of strength. Your hands, though exposed to soap and water daily, remain soft. They must. Customers notice, and they don't want to be touched by rough palms. Carrying the damp laundry, you head outside. A clothesline stretches from the back wall of the house to a sturdy post. You clip each garment with care. Wooden pegs holding them firm against the breeze. Asterisk, the yard is small. Just a patch of stone tiles, a few battered pots with struggling herbs. But it's open to the sky, and after the enclosed air inside, this feels expansive. You pause, lift your face. The sunlight, thin though it is, touches your skin like silk. London's air is never truly clean, but this moment, it's better. Cool, still. You breathe deeply. Let your lungs stretch. Let the cold wake you. The back door creaks open. Lily appears, her head poking through. He's nearly done with me. You're next, she says. Then, noticing your gaze skyward, see anything interesting up there? You smile softly. Just the usual clouds. Sky, a bit of freedom. She snorts with a knowing grin. Come inside before you freeze. Mrs. Winters is heating water. For tea, and Cook's made those currant buns you like. The promise of warmth and sweetness is too tempting. You follow her in. The kitchen greets you like an embrace, heat wrapping around your fingers. The smell of rising dough and wood smoke welcoming you home again. The kitchen is the heart of the house, where everyone gravitates in their quiet moments. And now, with midday drawing near, the house continues its rhythm. The kitchen is alive with motion. Cook stands at the center table, rolling out pastry for a meat pie. Her arms, strong and practiced, are dusted with flour nearly to the elbows. Mrs. Winters sits in the corner chair, her chair darning a stocking with careful, steady stitches. Tiny loops of thread form in her hands, neat and perfect. Betsy flits between them, fetching, carrying, absorbing the rhythms of womanhood through observation and correction. Lily hands you a mug of tea. You wrap your hands around it instinctively, drawing in the warmth. Steam coils upward. The scent is familiar, slightly bitter, earthy. You blow gently across the surface, watching the ripples fan out in soft, concentric circles. There's something soothing in its simple physics. Action and reaction. Cause and effect. Predictability in a world that often offers none. How was it, you ask Lily, voice lowered. She shrugs. Same as always. Cold hands, few questions. Wrote in the book. All clear. Then, after a pause, she adds in a softer tone, Josephine wasn't. You look at her, she's on rest, at least a week. Medicine 3 times a day. You nod, not surprised. Josephine has looked unwell for days, dark shadows under her eyes. That stubborn, whispering cough. Nothing dire yet, but enough to remind you of the ever-present weight that hangs over every girl in this house. A bell chimes from the front hall, Mrs. Cartwright summoning the next girl. That's you, Lily says, biting into her currant bun. Don't worry, he's in a good mood today, barely poked at all. You set your tea down with a quiet sigh. It had just reached the perfect temperature. But the doctor waits for no one. His time is valuable. His calendar booked across several houses like this one. As you move through the house toward the sitting room, you smooth your dress with both hands. Straighten your posture. Run fingers through your hair. Professional instincts now. Second nature. After 2 years, even here, especially here, you present yourself with care. Mrs. Cartwright's sitting room has been carefully altered for the occasion. The rosewood desk is cleared, covered with a white cloth. On top, a stethoscope, a few small glass bottles, a notebook, a pencil. The armchair has been shifted aside. The straight-backed wooden chair now stands in its place. Angled toward the light from the window, Dr. Harrison awaits. He's a man in his early 50s, grey at the temples, beard trimmed neatly. He carries himself with quiet efficiency. Unlike Some, he doesn't treat the girls with disdain or unnecessary roughness. His demeanor is professional. His touch is clinical. He wears a wedding ring once, mentioned a daughter studying law. You've sometimes wondered what his family thinks. He does during these hours of his week. "Ah, Mary," he says, looking up from washing his hands in the basin. "How have you been? Any concerns to report?" That's always how he begins. A small, rehearsed kindness, but it still matters. An acknowledgement that you're a person, not just a body. "Well enough, thank you, doctor. No concerns," he nods, and dries his hands with a towel. "Good, good. Then let's begin." Mrs. Cartwright sits off to the side, discreetly. She acts as both chaperone and record-keeper present, but turns slightly away, allowing privacy where possible. Another small dignity. In a moment that could easily lack any, the examination is brief, efficient, breathing, heartbeat, throat, eyes, and then the more intimate part. His touch is gloved, quick, detached. You've learned to disconnect during this part, to drift elsewhere, to think of your book, the last bite of that currant bun, the sunlight in the yard. Everything seems in order, he says at last. He removes the gloves, drops them into a small waste tin. "Continue as you are," he notes, something in his book, a small tick of approval, then looks to Mrs. Cartwright. She rises, gently guiding you to the door in the hallway. She murmurs, "Send Sarah in next, please." Before returning to your room, you pause in the hallway. The examination, as always, leaves you feeling a little hollow. Not because of discomfort, there wasn't any, but because of the feeling of being reduced. 2 parts, 2 systems, to something. To be checked, measured, confirmed. Necessary, yes, for your own protection as much as the house's, but still, it leaves a faint emptiness that follows you down the corridor. You deliver the message to Sarah, then step quietly into the kitchen once more. Your tea is still there, cooler now, but familiar. You wrap your fingers around the mug, solid, grounding. A small way to return to yourself after the distance of the doctor's touch. You sip slowly, then reach for a currant bun, still warm, the currants soft and sweet against the gentle blandness of the bread. A quiet indulgence. The hallway clock strikes noon. Already, the morning has slipped by, as it often does when the house is busy. Soon, everything will shift. Afternoon brings its own rhythm. Visitors usually the same few, men slipping away from work on extended lunch breaks. They know this is the best time, no waiting. More attention. You finish your tea, brush the crumbs from your dress, and rise. There's time for a quick trip upstairs. Time to change into something a little more appropriate than your morning work dress. Time to check your appearance, to prepare. The stairs creak familiarly under your steps. The house has gone quiet. That small, sacred pause between morning chores and the start of business. Even outside, the world seems softer, as if the street is breathing in. Waiting, your room welcomes you like a familiar touch. It's small, sparse, but it's yours in a way no other space has been. The bed where you began the day. The little chest where your clothes live. The window that frames a thin sliver of sky between the rooftops. You catch a reflection in the mirror. Your cheeks are faintly flushed from the kitchen's heat. Hair still in place. You look ordinary. A young woman in a simple dress. One among thousands walking these streets. Nothing about you, at a glance, betrays your profession. No mark, no scarlet thread, no visible shame. It brings a small wry smile to your lips. The contradiction never stops striking you. How society condemns women like you, yet builds the very conditions that lead them here, then quietly sends its men to keep the house full. Still, musings won't help you this afternoon. You kneel before the chest and lift the lid. You won't wear your best things. Those are for evenings, the ones with satin trim and whispers of perfume. Now, you need something simple but slightly elevated. You choose the blue dress. Cotton, not wool. Clean lines, a little lace at the collar. Respectable enough, attractive enough. Changing is fast. You've done this so many times. Dress off, dress on, in practiced motions. The new fabric feels pleasant against your skin, lighter, softer. You check your hair, pin back a loose strand. Pinch your cheeks to bring color to them. No rouge, not yet. The daytime clients prefer the illusion of spontaneity. Now ready, you sit at the edge of the bed. Just for a moment, you breathe in slowly and out. Then again, this is part of it. The shift, asterisk, from private to professional, from yourself to the version of you the world pays for. The boundary between them is crucial. It keeps you safe, keeps something of you intact. Your body feels calm, your mind still. You feel the mattress beneath you, your weight pressing gently into it. That physicality, that grounding in what is real, in the feel of fabric, wood, warmth, breath. It centers you, and you're ready again. You run your hands slowly across the blanket beside you, feeling its slightly coarse texture beneath your palm. It grounds you. You are here, present, real. From downstairs, you hear the front door open, then close. Footsteps, voices, Mrs. Cartwright's polished, professional greeting. A man's deeper reply. The afternoon has begun. You rise from the bed, smoothing your dress one final time. A deep breath in, filling your lungs completely. Then a slow, steady exhale. Your shoulders fall as the tension drifts away with the air. Asterisk, that's better. You're ready. The doorknob is cool under your fingers as you turn it. The hallway stretches ahead, familiar, quiet. The stairs, waiting. You begin to move forward, each step measured. Your posture upright. Your breathing steady, just like that. Easy, calm. You descend into whatever the afternoon may hold, your mind anchored in the moment. One breath, one motion at a time. Your fingertips trail along the wooden banisters, smooth from years of hands before yours. The house creaks around you, settling, breathing, alive. You match its rhythm without effort. Breath and motion in harmony. Nice and easy, one step. Then another dot at the bottom of the stairs. The parlor comes into view. It's already occupied. Mrs. Cartwright stands by the fireplace, her hand resting with deliberate grace on the mantel. Asterisk, she's speaking to a visitor. The man stands with his back to you, middle-aged, judging by his stance. Well-dressed, though not lavishly. A businessman, most likely. You pause at the doorway. Waiting Mrs. Cartwright looks up and gives a slight nod. Permission, and here is Mary now, she says, smoothly. Mary, this gentleman was just asking for some pleasant company. An hour or so. The man turns. His face fits your first impression. Graying hair at the temples. Weathered skin like someone who spends part of his time outdoors. His expression is polite, a little unsure. A new visitor, then. How do you do, sir? You say, offering a small curtsy. Not too deep, just enough to signal respect. Your voice shifts soft, refined, carefully measured. It's your professional voice, the one you've honed over time, watching, learning. Charles Wilson, he replies, bowing slightly in return. Probably not his real name, but that hardly matters. Would you care for some refreshment, Mr. Wilson? Mrs. Cartwright gestures toward the small bar your bar polished just hours ago. A glass of sherry, perhaps, or brandy, if you prefer. It's all part of the ritual. The drink, the manners, the illusion of a polite social call. Not business, not quite. Sherry would be most welcome, he says. Mrs. Cartwright pours. With steady hands, every movement deliberate. You take a moment to study him. His coat is good, but worn at the cuffs. The nails on his hands are clean but short, the skin roughened. He's someone who works, not just a desk-bound man, a tradesman, maybe a shop owner who still carries crates. Mrs. Cartwright hands him the amber drink, then smiles gently. I'll leave you two to become acquainted, she says. The blue room is available when you're ready. And just like that, she slips out, closing the door behind her with barely a sound. Now, it's just the two of you. A quiet parlor, a fire murmuring in the grate, casting flickers of gold across the walls. Outside London continues. A cart rumbles past. Voices call, a distant. Train whistles. Please have a seat, you say, gesturing to one of the armchairs near the fire. Make yourself comfortable. He does, settling stiffly, perching at the edge. Still unsure, you take the other chair. Your skirts fall into place with practiced ease. You sit just far enough close, but not too close. The distance matters. It's part of the rhythm, the quiet choreography of moments like this. Is this your first visit to Mrs. Cartwright's establishment? You ask, though of course, you already know the answer. He takes a sip of sherry before replying. Is it that obvious? You smile just a little. Not at all. I simply haven't had the pleasure of your company before, and I know all our regular visitors. He seems to relax at that. His shoulders soften, his posture less rigid. Yes, it's my first time, he admits. A business associate gave me the address. Said it was respectable. That word again, respectable, so vital to this society. The flimsy curtain that turns the forbidden into the forgivable, that lets men like Mr. Wilson step across thresholds, like this one, without having to admit what they're really doing. Mrs. Cartwright runs a very proper house, you say. Everything here is conducted with discretion and good taste. He nods in agreement and takes another slow sip. His hand is steadier now. The nerves are fading, the old, familiar pattern settling into place. For all its shadowy nature, this kind of interaction follows rules, unspoken but comforting in their structure. And you, Miss Mary, was it? He tilts his head, voice lighter now. Have you been here long? A common question. Part curiosity, part subtle gauge of experience, and part an attempt to make this feel like normal conversation. Nearly 2 years, you reply, the truth. No embellishment needed. The dialogue continues for a few minutes more. Gentle, impersonal topics, the weather, a recent exhibit at the Crystal Palace, his vague mention of being an importer tea, spices, that sort of thing. Nothing personal, nothing that leaves a mark, just enough to shift the atmosphere from stranger to something closer, something easier. You observe him carefully. He's reserved, but not detached. His eyes meet yours without darting away. There's no furtiveness, just a tired steadiness. He seems lonely, Perhaps a widower. Perhaps a man whose wife has long been unwell. Someone who came not just for physical release, but for comfort, for a moment of being seen. As he finishes his glass, you sense the moment arriving. The small dance of words has served its purpose. Now comes the rest. Would you care to continue our conversation somewhere more private, Mr. Wilson, you ask, your voice soft, inviting without pressure. He sets his glass down, nods. Yes, I believe I would. You rise smoothly. Your body feels warm and supple from the fire. Your movements are fluid, controlled. You extend your hand, not a command, but an offer. This way he takes it briefly, then lets go. You lead him through the hall, up the stairs. The blue room is prepared, a space meant for daytime guests. Neutral territory. No girl claims it as her own. It's simple, a clean bed, a washstand, a small chest with what's needed, soft linens, a quiet atmosphere. The transaction itself is uneventful. Mr. Wilson is gentle, careful, grateful. He stays the full hour, though the physical portion is brief. Most of the time is spent in quiet closeness, his head resting lightly against your shoulder, your hand running slowly through his hair. This too is part of what he pays for. Not just the act, but the illusion of being held, the feeling of being tended to, of being human. When the hour ends, a chime echoes from the hall. Mrs. Cartwright's discreet signal, no need for reminders. He dresses quickly, though not in a rush. There's a dignity in his movements, a desire to preserve some boundary of respect, even here. Thank you, he says, simply. Then he presses a coin into your hand. Not large, but generous. A gesture of appreciation. You've been very kind. It was my pleasure, you answer, the words smooth from habit. But this time, they're not entirely untrue. Mr. Wilson was clean, polite, undemanding. In this world that qualifies as a good encounter, you walk with him to the top of the stairs. And just like that, Mrs. Winters appears. As if summoned, she escorts him out quietly. Make sure he doesn't meet anyone else. That part matters. The illusion of privacy, the protection of appearances. He's gone. You close the door behind him and return to the blue room. Now comes the part that no visitor sees, the quiet work, the resetting of the scene. You strip the sheet from the bed in one practiced motion, folding it neatly into a bundle for the laundry. From the chest, you take a fresh one, shaking it out with a soft flick before smoothing it over the mattress with deliberate hands. The pillowcase follows, removed, replaced. The used linen added to the growing pile at the washstand. You clean yourself with the cloth and basin water. Not just for hygiene, but for you. It marks a boundary, a line drawn between one encounter and the next. The act of washing, it's a kind of ritual, a reminder that each moment stands on its own. The used water is poured into the slop bucket. Later, Betsy will empty it. You refill the basin with fresh water, fold the towel, and reposition the little cake of soap. Everything ready again, just as it should be. You glance into the mirror above the chest. Hair slightly mussed. A quick adjustment with your fingers, dress creased where Mr. Wilson had held you. You smooth it with your palm and your face, unchanged. Still you, the same eyes, the same mouth. This quiet moment after a visitor leaves is oddly peaceful. A pause, like the silence between notes in music. You stand for a moment, still and steady, listening. The floorboards beneath your feet, the ticking of the hall clock, soft voices downstairs, the clink of dishes from the kitchen. Your breath evens. Out, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Shoulders drop. Tension releases. This, too, is part of the work. Learning not to carry one moment into the next. Letting it go, softly. That's it. The hallway clock chimes 3. The afternoon moves on. You gather the used linens into your arms and leave the blue room, closing the door gently behind you. Down the back stairs, you go to the scullery, where the pile for the laundress grows. She'll come tomorrow. In the kitchen, you find Lily and Emily at the table, sharing a pot of tea. They glance up as you enter. Wilson, Lily asks, nudging a clean cup toward you. New one, isn't he? You nod as you pour your tea. Seems decent. Widower, I think. Tea merchant. This kind of exchange is common. A mix of quiet gossip and useful knowledge. Knowing what to expect makes the work easier and safer. Better than my afternoon, Emily says with a theatrical sigh. Old Mr. Peterson again. 45 minutes talking about his blasted snuff boxes. Then 5 minutes of the most mechanical, well, you know. She wrinkles her nose. And always stinking of those dreadful lozenges he sucks on. You smile, settling into the sturdy wooden chair beside them. It feels solid beneath you, a welcome support after standing, at least. He's quick about it. Emily chuckles. Small mercies. This camaraderie, it's one of the unexpected graces of the life. Despite the competition, there's solidarity. A bond born of shared understanding. You can speak openly here in a way that would be impossible elsewhere. No need to justify. No need to explain. Just be. The kitchen wraps around you like a shawl warm. Familiar. Cook stands at the counter, chopping vegetables with steady rhythm. The sound of the knife is soothing. Bread bakes in the oven behind her. The second batch of the day prepared for tonight's supper. Dinner simmers in the background as you take another sip of tea. Its warmth spreading slowly through your chest. It's good tea. Another of the house's small but meaningful luxuries. Mrs. Cartwright understands well-fed, comfortable women earn more and cause fewer problems. The food here is plain, yes, but there's enough of it, asterisk, and that's a kind of comfort on its own. The kind that builds quiet loyalty over time. Anyone else booked for this afternoon? You ask, reaching for a slice of seed cake sitting in the center of the table. Lily shakes her head. Quiet day. Sarah had someone earlier. Josephine's still resting doctor's orders. Mrs. Cartwright's doing accounts in her office. A quiet afternoon isn't a bad thing. The real business comes later, after work hours, when the regulars arrive, when clubs empty and men seek softness to end their day. Afternoons are slower, less predictable, but sometimes better that way. You break off a piece of cake. It's dense and just sweet enough. Cook has a way with simple things. Nothing fancy, but always made with care. The caraway seeds add something special, spiced, aromatic. I might go out for a bit, you say, brushing crumbs from your fingertips. Need hairpins and writing paper. Anyone want anything from the shops? Small errands are allowed during quiet hours, even encouraged. Mrs. Cartwright believes that fresh air is beneficial, that short glimpses of normal life keep the girls balanced. As long as you're back before evening, there's no issue. Both Lily and Emily decline. So, you finish your tea, then head upstairs to retrieve your shawl and purse. The small leather purse holds your personal funds, tips from customers, a weekly allowance from Mrs. Cartwright. Not a fortune, but enough for necessities, and the occasional indulgence. Your shawl is dark blue wool, plain, warm, unremarkable, just right. You wrap it around your shoulders, feeling its weight settle against your back. The wool is slightly scratchy, but in a way that feels grounding. Real. Outside, the street hums with afternoon life. Carts rumble past, wheels clattering on cobblestones. Servants hurry by, balancing parcels. Vendors shout their wares from corners. You step into this flow, anonymous. UNDEFINABL. No one looks twice, just a young woman on an errand. Your life invisible to them. And in that, there's freedom. For a little while, you belong to the city in a different way. The rhythm of your steps, the way your muscles adjust to the uneven walk, the cool air brushing your cheeks after the heat of the house. First stop, the haberdashery, a narrow shop tucked between a greengrocer and a bookbinder. The bell jingles above you as you step inside. The proprietress looks up from her sewing, spectacles perched low on her nose. "Afternoon, miss," she says, neutral, but not unkind. "Hairpins, please." The black ones medium size. She nods, bending to retrieve a box. 6p for a dozen, good quality. These won't bend on you like the cheap ones. You count the coins with care. Not that funds are tight at the moment, but the habit of economy is deep, old, ingrained. She wraps them in paper and slides the packet across the counter with a brisk nod. Next, the stationer. 3 streets over there, you buy a small bundle of writing paper, a matching set of envelopes, and a pencil. The elderly shopkeeper is more chatty than the last. He asks about the weather, whether the paper is for writing to a sweetheart. You smile, say little, play the part, the respectable girl, polite, composed, unremarkable. There's a strange pleasure in these exchanges, pretending, performing. For a few minutes you are someone else, a governess, a daughter, a young woman on her errands, and for that short time, you almost believe it. But of course, it's only a moment, a flicker of something softer. Even fantasy has its limits. There are streets you don't walk down, shops you don't enter, places where your presence would feel out of place. Or worse, noticed. The respectable tea room where proper ladies meet their friends isn't for you. Nor is the church down the lane, with its high, narrow spire and the way it seems to watch. Even in anonymity, there are reminders, small, invisible fences that mark your place in the world. Your final stop is the bakery. You allow yourself a small indulgence, a jam tart. The pastry is still warm, golden, filled with strawberry that's just sweet enough. With a pleasant tense, you eat it slowly as you walk, one bite at a time, licking a smear of jam from your fingertip, a tiny act of joy. These are the kinds of pleasures that matter in your life. Immediate, tangible, nothing too far ahead. Just this moment. The walk back is slower. You're in no hurry. The movement feels good after a morning spent, mostly indoors. Your limbs loosen as you go, muscles stretching, joints moving in familiar rhythm. There's a deep satisfaction in this quiet autonomy. The beat of your heart, the rise and fall of breath, your eyes scanning the details of the street. So much life in one glance, so much to take in. By the time you return, the light has changed. Shadows grow longer. The air turns golden. That specific glow that always seems to arrive before evening. You unlock the front door with your own key. Every girl has one. Another quiet sign of Mrs. Cartwright's trust and of good order. Inside, the house feels different. Charged with energy, evening is coming. You hear movement overhead. Voices calling between rooms. A new tempo beginning. Slower steps replaced by quickened ones. A shift in tone, Mrs. Winters meets you in the hallway. Her expression is as it usually is. Stern, but not unkind. There you are, Mrs. Cartwright wants everyone ready by 7 tonight. We've had several messages. It may be a busy evening. You nod, already adjusting. Your thoughts, I'll start getting ready then. Has Cook said when dinner will be? 5:30. Early tonight, because of the bookings. Her eyes drop to the paper packets in your hand. You get what you needed. You lift the little bundle of hairpins. Yes, thank you. She nods, satisfied, then moves on toward the kitchen, the gentle clink of keys trailing behind her. Mrs. Winters isn't cold, just structured. Her role requires a distance, present enough to manage, but never too close. Facilitating the work, but not part of it. Upstairs, the house hums with purposeful motion. Doors open along the hallway. Girls moving between rooms, passing brushes, calling for help with hair or stays. Asterisk borrowing things. Trading compliments. Evening preparation is personal, but communal. You step into your room and find Lily already there, half-dressed. She's struggling with the buttons on the back of her green silk gown, arms reaching awkwardly behind her. You set your packages down without a word and move to help. Your fingers find the tiny buttons, fastening them quickly. Thanks, she says with relief. Thought I'd get a head start since Mrs. Winters said it might be busy. Good idea. You fasten the last one and step back to take a look. The green suits you, you say, smiling. Brings out your eyes. She turns toward the mirror. Her auburn hair is already styled, lifted and curled, with borrowed pieces added for volume. She adjusts it gently, her expression unsure. Do you think? Not too much. Not at all, you say. Elegant, but noticeable. Perfect. This ritual, this trading of reassurance, is just as much a part of getting ready as the dressing itself. These clothes aren't just garments, they're a costume, a uniform, armor. You'll all play your roles soon enough, dressed in garments, more elaborate than those of the day. Evening wear reveals more, though within carefully maintained limits. Mrs. Cartwright does not allow gaudiness. No bright scarlets, no heavy makeup, no suggestion of vulgarity. Here, elegance is part of the illusion. Lily slips out to finish her preparation elsewhere. And now it's your turn. You begin with a proper wash, more thorough than the earlier refresh after Mr. Wilson. The water in the basin has cooled, but the cold is bracing, refreshing. You splash it over your face, neck, shoulders. The chill raises tiny bumps on your skin, a physical reminder that you are alive. From the chest, you lift your evening dress, deep blue silk faded in places from use, but still graceful. The color complements your dark hair, your darker eyes. The fit flatters your figure without appearing too bold. One of 3 dresses you rotate carefully. Evening clothes are an investment. They help attract a better class of clientele, and they hold their value longer if treated with care. You begin to dress a ritual of layers. Fine cotton chemise first, soft drawers. Simple but luxurious compared to the rough garments of your past. Then the corset. You fasten it at the front. Turn it, tighten the laces not too much, just enough to sculpt the silhouette that's expected. Fashionable, but breathable. Next, the petticoats. They add structure, movement, and finally, the blue silk dress itself. It settles over the foundation, like icing on a cake. There's quiet satisfaction in this process, this careful building of a shape, an image. Your body knows the feeling, the tug of the corset, the soft rustle of petticoats, the cool brush of silk at your arms. Hair is next. You undo the simple knot from earlier and brush out the waves until they shine. The new hairpins come into use. Quickly you twist, pin shape, not as intricate as a lady's maid might manage, but elegant. Soft curls frame your face, the rest gathered at the back in a smooth, secure. Not that then come the cosmetics. Just a touch. Mrs. Cartwright insists on subtlety. A bit of rice powder, a trace of rouge barely there. The goal is health, not disguise. The final detail, scent a dab of lavender water. Nothing strong, just a whisper, applied at wrists, behind. Ears, the hollow of your throat. It rises gently with your body heat. A quiet signature. You step back and look at yourself in the mirror. The transformation is complete. From ordinary working girl to something more refined. Not a lady, but someone desirable. Someone worth a glance, worth a fee. The hallway clock chimes 5:30. Dinner. Dinner. You move downstairs, your dress whispering as it brushes your legs. Even your steps feel different, lower, smoother. The clothing alters your posture. Back straighter, chin lifted. The mental shift follows the physical one. Dinner is served. In the dining room, not the kitchen. Another small change in routine, marking the transition from day to night. The table is simple, but proper. Clean linen, polished cutlery. Order Mrs. Cartwright joins you all. She wears dark purple silk, her presence unmistakable. She doesn't just run the house. She embodies its tone. The food is plain, but abundant. Beef stew rich with vegetables. Bread warm from the oven. Rice pudding with raisin sweet and filling. Wine is served. Just a glass each. Enough to loosen conversation, not control. Around the table, chatter begins. The moment is communal. A pause before each of you drifts into your separate roles. You sit between Sarah and Emily. Lily across from you. Josephine's chair remains empty, still resting, per the doctor. I heard Mr. Henderson might come tonight. Emily says, tearing off a piece of bread. Haven't seen him in weeks. Sarah nods as she spears a bit of beef. Business trip to Glasgow, apparently. His regular night would have been last Thursday. This exchange of names and details continues through the meal. Who might be visiting tonight? Who's been absent lately? Which regulars have sent messages ahead? It's part preparation and part the ordinary gossip of any workplace. The men become characters in a shared story. Their habits, quirks, and preferences discussed, like familiar plot points. Mrs. Cartwright listens more than she speaks. Now and then, she corrects a name or offers a fact the girls didn't know. Her role is layered: employer, protector, quiet disciplinarian, and sometimes a kind of mentor. She keeps her distance, but never cruelly. Her authority is firm, yet fair. As the meal winds down, she addresses the table. As Mrs. Winters may have mentioned, she says, we have several definite bookings for this evening, and likely more casual callers. Her eyes move deliberately across the room. Mr. Harrington has asked for Emily specifically. Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Benson are expected around 8. Both are open to whoever's available. There may be others. Several messages suggested possible visits. She pauses. A brief silence that holds meaning. I expect everyone to conduct themselves with their usual decorum. Remember, it's quality of service, not quantity, that maintains this house's reputation. The message is clear. A busy evening is welcome, but not at the cost of standards. It's this commitment to excellence, this difference in tone, that sets Mrs. Cartwright's house apart. As the plates are gathered by Betsy and Cook, Mrs. Cartwright rises. The dark purple silk of her gown glides across the floor with quiet authority. "I'll be in my office for the next hour," she says. Then in the parlor to receive guests. "Good evening, ladies." With that, she leaves. The girls linger at the table just a few minutes more, finishing their wine, stretching this moment of comfort before the shift begins in earnest. You sip the last of yours. The warmth spreads through your chest, settling gently in your limbs. Your body feels at ease, fed, composed, ready that. The chair supports you. The soft clink of cutlery, the low murmur of voices, all part of this familiar, fleeting pause. Your breathing deepens naturally, steady, unhurried, present, just this moment, just this stillness, that's all. Eventually, the others begin to drift away, some returning to their rooms for final adjustments, some to the parlor to arrange flowers or check cushions. One or two slip into the kitchen for a last cup of tea. You remain a little longer, savoring. Finally, you rise. The soft swish of the blue silk wraps around your ankles. Your body shifts, adjusts, aligns. Posture straightens. Chin lifts, shoulders square. You're ready. The evening awaits, its details unknown, but its structure familiar. There will be men. Some you know, some you don't. There will be charm, small talk, desire, performance. There may be a quiet connection, or nothing at all, but all of that is later. For now, there is only this movement forward. You walk toward the parlor, the beginning of the evening's first act. Each step is deliberate, measured, grounded. The rustle of silk is your only accompaniment. Your hand brushes the wall lightly as you go. The wallpaper's faint texture meets your fingertips. Present, anchored here, just like that, easy and calm. The London evening presses gently against the windows, cool and still. A decanter of sherry waits on the small table, surrounded by delicate glasses, a dish of sugared almonds, and a few dainty biscuits arranged like small, edible jewels. Sarah is already in the parlor when you arrive. She reclines gracefully on one of the sofas, her burgundy gown rich against her fair skin, her hair swept up with pearl pins that glint under the lamplight. She glances at you, eyes moving with a professional ease. "You look well," she says. A simple assessment, not flattery, just fact. The blue suits your eyes. You thank her softly and settle into an armchair. Its velvet upholstery is worn smooth by years of use. Still soft beneath your fingertips, quiet still. You murmur. Sarah nods, early yet. Mrs. Cartwright says the first's not due until 8. She smooths her dress with careful hands, each movement precise, controlled. Might start slow, but the end of the month usually brings more. Payday. Her mind for patterns is sharp, a holdover from her days as a clerk at a draper's. Mrs. Cartwright sometimes lets her help with the ledgers. The conversation drifts. A new shop on the next street. Cook's persistent cough. Should someone call the doctor? Whether the cold delivery will show up tomorrow at all. Domestic matters, ordinary things. The kind of talk you'd hear in any shared home. One by one, the others join you. Emily, in pale green silk that glows softly against her dark curls. Lily, radiant in her emerald gown, her auburn hair arranged in a tower of careful curls. Even Josephine makes an appearance, though she's under orders to rest. She sits quietly, not for business tonight, but to be seen, to smile, to build rapport for another evening. Mrs. Winters enters, carrying a tray, evening tea, not in daytime mugs, but in fine porcelain cups, so thin the light passes through them. When lifted, the tea is the same, but the ritual transforms it. The weight of the cup, the warmth through porcelain, the delicate rim against your lips. Each part draws you inward, settling you, preparing you, centering you. You drink slowly, measured sips. Your breath flows evenly. Your body alert, but not tense. Your corset hugs you gently, a familiar pressure. The blue silk brushes your arms, a soft whisper of fabric against skin. Your posture holds straight, elegant, practiced. The clock in the hall begins to chime. 8 o'clock. Its tones echo through the house, clear and deep. A heartbeat later, a knock at the front door. The first visitor, Mrs. Cartwright, appears in the parlor. Her presence immediate, commanding. Her purple gown sways with each step. Graceful, deliberate. Emily, Mr. Harrington has arrived. He's asked for you. Emily nods, rises smoothly, sets her cup down with care, then follows Mrs. Cartwright from the room. Their footsteps fade in the office. Terms will be agreed. Expectations named, boundaries drawn. Then Emily will lead him upstairs, not to the shared blue room, but to her own, personal, prepared fresh linens, a sprig of lavender, a few drops of rose oil in the lamp, small luxuries, small illusions. The parlor settles again. Conversation resumes, but the mood has shifted. The air hums softly. The evening has begun, and now, any moment another. Knock, another arrival, another story waiting to unfold. This time, it is Sarah who summoned Mr. Lawrence, a regular, every other Tuesday, right on time. As she leaves, Lily leans in, her voice quiet, threaded with interest. I heard from Cook, there's someone new coming tonight. Wealthy, apparently, a banker or something like that. Mrs. Cartwright made sure the best sherry was out. These whispers matter, knowing who's coming, what they might want, how best to approach them. It's part of the craft, and it isn't always about touch. Sometimes it's words, or the right kind of silence. You murmur, did she say anything else? Lily shakes her head. Just that he's new, but came recommended. Someone Mrs. Cartwright trusts. Before the conversation can continue. Another knock, and this time, it's your name. You set down your teacup, smooth your skirts, and rise, with a calm grace that's been practiced 100 times. Your muscles respond with fluid ease, your movements deliberate, each step balanced. The silk of your dress whispers softly against your petticoats. In the hallway, Mrs. Cartwright waits, with a gentleman you don't know. He's tall, mid to late 30s, perhaps, broad across the chest, with the confident carriage of someone used to being listened to. His clothes elegant, not loud, just correct, tailored to perfection, with the quiet weight of real money. Mary, this is Mr. Hamilton, Mrs. Cartwright says. Mr. Hamilton, may I present Mary, one of our most accomplished young ladies. You curtsy, offering your hand with a soft smile. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hamilton. He takes it briefly, firm, but not overbearing. His eyes grey, clear, curious. The pleasure is mine, he replies. Mrs. Cartwright gestures toward her office. If you'll just step this way, Mr. Hamilton. to settle the details. Mary, would you wait in the parlor? You nod, returning to the warmth of the sitting room while the formalities are handled out of earshot. Lily glances up as you enter, the new one. You confirm, seems the respectable type. Banker, maybe a lawyer. She nods knowingly. Respectable men require respectable fantasies. More conversation, more attention, more illusion, not just a transaction, a story, a story. Moments later, Mrs. Cartwright returns. Mr. Hamilton follows, composed, polished. Mary, perhaps you'd be so kind as to show Mr. Hamilton to your room. I believe you'll find you have much in common to discuss. You recognize the signal. Tonight, words will matter as much as anything else. You offer a soft smile. Would you care for some sherry first, Mr. Hamilton, or shall we go directly upstairs? I'd enjoy a glass, he replies, his voice cultured. Measured, you pour. The drinks, your fingertips brushing his as you pass him the glass. A gentle, deliberate contact. Small, but significant. He responds with a slight smile. Eyes meeting yours, just long enough to confirm the connection. You begin to talk. The weather, unseasonably cold. A recent concert at the Albert Hall. The growing chaos of London traffic. You respond with interest. Not too much, just enough to be engaging, to flatter without fawning, to suggest he is exactly as worldly and clever as he believes himself to be. It's a familiar dance, this kind of conversation, guiding without pushing, creating a space where he feels interesting, intelligent, admired. Your posture helps. Slight lean forward at just the right moment. A soft smile when his story takes a clever turn. Holding his gaze just a second longer than strictly necessary. None of it forced. All of it practiced. When his glass is empty, you rise first, setting. Your own down still half full. You rarely drink much while working. Clarity is valuable. Shall we continue our conversation somewhere more comfortable, Mr. Hamilton? He stands, offering a nod. Lead the way, my dear. Your room waits quiet, tucked away at the back of the house. It's not large, but it's been arranged with care. The bed, bigger than your own, is dressed in crisp linens, layered with pillows that give the illusion of softness and luxury. A small fire glows in the hearth, just enough to push back the chill. A washstand stands, ready clean towels, fresh water, good soap, details that matter. A folding screen in the corner offers modest privacy. The gaslight is low, its golden hue smoothing edges, softening floors, warming the air with its gentle glow. On the table, a vase of flowers, vivid, fragrant, brought in from the conservatory earlier that day. An unnecessary expense, perhaps, but one Mrs. Cartwright insists upon for the sake of mood. Mr. Hamilton surveys the room. He approves. Charming, he murmurs. Quite charming, thank you, you reply, closing the door softly behind you. Please, make yourself comfortable. What follows is the shape of so many nights, a pattern both familiar and unique. The conversation deepens, touches begin gentle at first, then bolder. A silent agreement unfolds without words. What will be asked? What will be given? What will not Mr. Hamilton proves to be one of the better ones. Attentive, not hurried, not cruel. He listens, he observes. He treats the encounter as more than a transaction, even though both of you know it is, and when the act is done, he doesn't rise at once or retreat into silence. Instead, he lingers, An arm rests lightly across your waist. A pause, a moment. "You're very good at what you do," he says, softly, not lascivious. More curious than anything. You nod. "Thank you." Number false modesty. No demurring, just honesty. "You are good. You've studied this as carefully as you once studied." Stitching seems dot. Then comes the question, inevitable. "How did you come to be here?" His voice isn't sharp, just interested, not judgmental. "You seem different," he adds. "Not what I expected." You've heard this before. They want a story, a reason, the kind they've read about. The seduced innocent, the tragic widow, the clever girl who made the best of limited choices. A story that lets them place you in their private pantomime. The angel, fallen, or the whore. Redeemed, but the truth is always more ordinary and more complicated than they really want to hear. You could invent a story, if you wanted, the kind they always expect of innocence led astray, or passion gone awry. But Mr. Hamilton's gaze is not leering, not searching for spectacle. It is ... genuinely curious. "So you choose something closer to truth." "I was a seamstress," you begin, your voice even matter-of-fact. "The pay wasn't enough to live on." "Not really." 16-hour days, straining your eyes in dim light, hands raw, fingers bleeding in winter, and still never quite enough for both rent and food. You pause. The memory is far off now, blunted, but real. This pays better. The hours are shorter. The conditions are more comfortable. He's quiet a moment, his expression reflective. A rational economic decision, then. "Yes," you answer, though not one society views rationally. That observation seems to strike a chord. He props himself up on one elbow, his eyes more focused now. "Do you find that paradoxical?" he asks. "That what is essentially a market transaction is viewed with such moral condemnation?" And just like that, the conversation shifts, deeper, more engaged. A real discussion, economics, morality, gender. You speak freely. Your mind wakes up, stretching in a way it rarely can in this setting. He listens, he responds. You meet him thought for thought, and for a while. You are simply two people having a conversation that matters. Eventually, the hallway clock chimes. A quiet signal. His time is almost up. Mr. Hamilton sighs, then smiles ruefully. "I've spent more time talking than I intended," he says, gathering his clothes. You sit up slowly. "No regrets, I hope." "None," he replies, tugging his waistcoat into place. "Nor do I," you say truthfully. "It's been unusually pleasant." There's honesty in the exchange. Unusual, welcome. When fully dressed, he reaches into his vest pocket and draws out a coin, not payment, that's been arranged already. "This," he says, placing it gently on the small table, "is for the conversation as much as anything else." You nod, not reaching for it. "Not yet, thank you," you say softly. "It was genuinely interesting. Perhaps I'll return next week," he offers, almost tentatively, "if that would be convenient." "I'd be delighted," you answer. The professional phrase, yes, but not hollow. He bows, just slightly. And then he's gone. You hear him descending the stairs. Mrs. Winter's voice greets him quietly, ensuring a smooth departure. No awkward encounters. Alone again, you begin the post-customer ritual. The room must be reset. Linens changed, water replenished, surfaces straightened. Your body moves automatically. You've done this 100 times. More your mind, though, lingers that conversation. It was rare. Most men don't want thoughts, ideas, reflections. They want fantasy, touch, release. But this one saw something else, if only briefly. Still, you remind yourself not to read too much into it. He paid as they all do. He chose to spend part of his hour on talk. That's all. The realism settles in. Not bitter, not regretful, just clear. You've survived this long by knowing what is real and what is not. The room is clean again. The mirror reflects only slight adjustments needed. Nothing out of place. Not really. A few pins repositioned. A crease smoothed away. A touch more color to your lips. Ready again, but not quite yet. Before returning downstairs, you pause, standing, still in the center of the room, feet planted firmly, back straight. You close your eyes, in through the nose, out through the mouth, slow, deliberate, deep. Your ribs expand against the soft resistance of the corset. Your shoulders drop, your jaw releases, even the tiny muscles around your eyes let go. This moment is only yours. Mr. Hamilton is now the past. Whoever comes next is not yet real. Just this breath, just this moment, just you, the floorboards beneath your feet, the faint draft on your skin, the rhythmic rise and fall of your chest. Present, grounded, whole. The hallway clock chimes half. Past. You open your eyes, take one more breath, and move. The silk of your dress whispers softly with each step. Your hand closes round the doorknob, steady, calm. Downstairs, the house has awakened fully. You hear it, voices, laughter, the clink of a glass, a murmur behind one door, a sigh behind another, the machinery of desire and commerce humming along in careful balance. In the parlor, you find Lily alone. She's arranging the sherry glasses, straightening the cushions. Her expression brightens as you enter. There you are. How was the banker man? You smile, settling onto the sofa beside her. He was fine, talkative, intelligent, might become a regular. She nods. So much understood in so few words. Lucky you. I had old Mr. Watson again. You know, the one with the wandering hands. And the peppermint drops. Breathes like a steam engine. You both chuckle softly. It's not gossip. Not really. It's solidarity. Workplace banter in a world where few things are ever said plainly. There's comfort in the shared experience. No judgment, no performance, just understanding the fire in the grate has burned low. Its glow softer now, a mellow warmth that paints everything in gold. Lily rises and adds a small log. Her movements are practiced, efficient. The flame catches quickly. It flares, then settles. You watch it dance, eyes soft, breath quiet. The fire's warmth finds you, even across the room, a slow exhale against your skin. The parlor smells of cherry and smoke, perfume and silk, and flowers. Always the flowers. Your body feels pleasantly tired, not worn out, just used in the way a well-loved garment feels after a day's wear. The corset holds but doesn't press. The dress moves but doesn't cling. Your feet, tucked beneath you, rest in slippers instead of boots. You feel okay. This in-between space, between clients, between personas, belongs to you. No one to please, no mask to wear, just breath, just fire, just presence, just presence. Lily sits again, her posture matching yours, loose, comfortable, quiet. Quiet night, she murmurs, for late November. And you nod, still watching the flicker of flame, still breathing in rhythm with your own heartbeat. She observes. The weather. Do you think that rain earlier was fierce? You nod, glancing toward the curtained window, where the soft patter of raindrops still makes itself heard against the glass. Probably, you reply, though it might pick up later. Theatre crowds and such. Another quiet nod. Another shared understanding. Rain changes things. It changes moods, timings, the number of footsteps on the cobblestones outside. Part of the business is knowing the city, its rhythms, its weather, its whims. You both drift into other topics. A new dress Emily is having made. Something with pearl buttons. Whether Josephine will recover soon or need more days of rest. Cook's plans for Sunday dinner. Roast chicken, she said. If the butcher has something decent, it's ordinary conversation. Household talk. The kind of murmuring exchange that happens anywhere women live together in close quarters. Time passes like honey poured slowly, measured only by the quiet ticking of the parlor clock and the dimming of the fire. Your body is loose, comfortable, not quite tired, not quite alert, just content. Your breathing moves in rhythm with the life of the house. A voice upstairs, a creaking board, the rustle of fabric as Lily shifts beside you, then a knock at the door. The rhythm stirs again. You both straighten ever so slightly. Professional alertness slipping back into place like a familiar glove. Mrs. Cartwright appears. Her expression unreadable, but eyes focused. Mary, a gentleman, has asked for your company. Are you available? You rise the silk of your dress, settling gently around your legs. You nod. Of course, Mrs. Cartwright. She gestures, and you follow her. Your steps are smooth, measured. The sway of your skirt feels like music. You're calm, centered, steady. Ready. The evening continues, its steady unfolding. One visitor after another. Some you know, some you don't. Some visits are brief, transactional. Others unfold like small stories, complex and unpredictable. Through it all, you remain composed, charming, listening, smiling, being exactly what each man hopes to find or thinks he's found by 11. A lull. The early patrons have gone. The later arrivals still dressing for the night, lingering over cigars and brandy in gentlemen's clubs. The house breathes a little easier in this pause. You and the other girls drift into the kitchen. Supper, tea, comfort. Comfort. The kitchen at this hour feels different, more private, more human. The cooking is finished, but the warmth from the range remains. The air smells of bread and beef, and the faint soapiness of dishes being stacked and washed. Cold London smoke still hangs about. Always cook has gone to bed, but she's left food behind. Bread, cheese, cold meats, and a tart still slightly warm at the center. You sink into a chair. Its solid frame supports you completely. Your body, so alert moments ago, relaxes bit by bit. The weight of the evening becomes more noticeable as it eases from your limbs. Across the table, Emily sits, her green dress wrinkled at the waist, hair escaping from its pins. She looks tired, but not unhappy. Busy night. You ask softly, reaching for a plate. She nods, for already, and Mrs. Cartwright says there might be a group coming later. As she speaks, Lily enters, still graceful, but you can see the effort now in the way she moves. I heard the same, she says, sliding into a chair. Private dining room at the George, 6 or 8 men, if they all come. The 3 of you exchange looks. More guests, more money, more hours, more strain, and yet that's the balance you all live with. This work is always walking a line between what's too much and what you're willing to give. This is what you're here for. The purpose of this life. You select some bread, a slice of cold beef, a wedge of cheese, simple food, no pretense, no performance, just sustenance, just yours. The plate feels warm in your hands, substantial, satisfying. Sarah enters, carrying the teapot from the edge of the range, still hot, still comforting. She pours for everyone in turn, the amber liquid steaming in the soft light. The ritual is familiar. Milk, sugar, a grateful first sip, strong and sweet, reviving. The kitchen quiets. No one speaks of grand ideas now, just small complaints. Snippets of the night's encounters, little murmurs of humor, exasperation, relief. No need to explain, no need to justify. Everyone here understands. You feel yourself settle, sink, unwind. The warmth of the tea spreads gently through your chest. Your shoulders release a final bit of tension, and just as easily, it ends. Mrs. Winters appears, a silhouette, in the kitchen doorway, serious as ever. "They're here," she says. No preamble, no softness. 6 gentlemen from the club dinner. Mrs. Cartwright wants everyone in the parlor immediately. A collective breath, a sigh cut short. Plates down, cups drained. A quick glance in the small mirror. Hair, dress, posture. Back to work. The parlor is already buzzing when you return. 6 men, as reported. Evening dress, loosened ties, cravat stains. Laughter, a little too loud. Gestures, a little too broad. Mrs. Cartwright's voice, cool and welcoming. "Ah, here are the ladies now. Gentlemen, may I present Emily, Lily, Sarah, and Mary. I'm sure you'll find their company most agreeable." And so begins the pairing. A delicate, wordless choreography. Preferences, specialties, instincts. You're matched with a younger man, early 30s, receding hair, a neat moustache. Edward. He bows, slightly, delighted. He says, his words smooth, but his eyes slightly glassy. "The blue of your dress is most becoming." You thank him with a smile worn from repetition, but softened at the edges with practiced grace. He's tipsy, not drunk, not aggressive. A pale strip of skin reveals a ring recently pocketed, likely married. Likely predictable. The conversation plays out like so many before. Pleasantries, flotation. The gradual shift from charm to suggestion. Your body moves on autopilot. Each response, each gesture, rehearsed and refined until they appear effortless. The room swells with soft movement. Each pair, one by one, rising from chairs. A silent cue. Curtains drawn. Smiles exchanged up the stairs. To the rooms to work. Edward's visit is neither difficult nor memorable. Wine-heavy, conventional. He makes no strange demands. He falls asleep almost immediately after. You lie still for a moment beside him. The air is warm, thick with cologne, lavender water, and the faint, unmistakable scent of recent intimacy. Rain taps the window, soft, as if unsure whether to stay. From below, muffled voices, footsteps on wood. A door closing gently. You breathe, not deeply, just enough your skin feels slightly damp. The usual way, the usual after, the usual now. Edward stirs. "Oh," he says, blinking, "I must have. I do apologize." You smile, professional, comforting. You seemed peaceful. You tell him, "I didn't wish to disturb you." Relief colors his face. Gratitude softens. He dresses. Quickly, but with care. You help with the cravat, your fingers deft from 100 repetitions. He thanks you for everything, though he can't quite say it aloud, and then he's gone. The silence returns. Like an old friend, you begin to clean, basin, linens, pillows, fold, replace. Smooth, you know each motion. Your body performs them while your mind begins to float. It's been a long day. From the first waking breath to the doctor's appointment, to tea, to clients, to now. Each hour asked for a different version of yourself. Each man expected a different face, a different tone, a different story. Doubt now. Finally, you feel it settle into you, the tiredness, not pain, not sorrow, just the honest weight of having given so much of yourself to so many. And still, there is something left of you here in this room, this night. This quiet, this satisfaction in it. Work completed, income earned, challenges met. Your body feels thoroughly used, but not harmed. Your mind tired, but not troubled. Just the natural exhaustion that follows sustained effort and constant presence. The hallway clock chimes once. Morning already, technically, though it still feels like the deep of night. The rain continues its quiet rhythm against the window, now joined by a distant rumble of thunder. A storm settling in. You finish restoring the room. One final glance in the mirror. The blue silk dress is no longer immaculate, creased, loosened, faintly tired, just like you. Hair partially escaped its pins. Makeup faded to memory. Still presentable but undeniably worn. Downstairs, the parlor is nearly empty. Only Mrs. Cartwright remains, finishing her account book, the lamplight soft around her. She looks up, shrewd eyes noting everything in a single glance. "I believe that's all for tonight. Mary," she says, her voice finally showing the gentle fatigue of a long day ending. No more guests. Not with the weather turning. Relief washes over. You, permission to stop, to shed the persona, to rest. "Thank you, Mrs. Cartwright. Shall I help with anything?" She shakes her head, closing her book. "No need. Mrs. Winters has seen to the doors. Cook will manage the rest." You nod, say your good nights, and ascend the stairs. The climb feels longer now, each step pulling just a bit more effort from limbs that gave so much already at the top. Your shared bedroom welcomes you, plain, unadorned. Yours no clients ever crossed this threshold. This is your world, 2 narrow beds, a wooden chest, a chipped wash basin, nothing elegant, but it belongs to you. Lily is already seated, nightgown on, hair loose, a brush moving slowly through auburn strands. She looks up and smiles, a smile that says, "I understand everything, and don't need to ask a thing." Asterisk, asterisk. "Finished," she murmurs. You nod. "Yes, thank God, that's all for tonight." You begin to undress. Your fingers work the buttons, the hooks, by habit now. Even tired, they know the way. "How was it?" she asks. You shrug. "Nothing special, but decent money. The last one was generous. That's all it takes. No further detail required." You both understand exactly what those few words mean. The silk dress comes off. The corset unhooks. Your lungs expand at last. Cool air hits your skin. It feels wonderful. The plain cotton nightdress feels like a blessing. Soft, simple, yours you sit. Begin brushing out your hair, slow, gentle, comforting. Then Lily speaks again, softly. Do you ever wonder what it would be like? A different life. You keep brushing, not surprised. These questions always find their way to the surface late at night. Sometimes you say, but then I remember what it was really like. The hunger, the cold, the fear. At least here, we eat, we're warm, we have some say. She nods. I suppose it's not good or bad, just different kinds of hard, different prices to pay. Yes, you set the brush down, different prices. The room is quiet again, comfortably so. You speak of morning plans, laundry, deliveries, ordinary things, and then you extinguish the lamp. The bed welcomes you like a friend. Horsehair mattress, lumpy in spots, but perfect now. You shift, settle. Sink. Outside, the storm deepens. Rain patters, wind sighs. But inside, all is warmth and silence. Night, Mary, Lily whispers. Good night, you murmur. Your eyes close. Your breath deepens. The thoughts of the day begin to dissolve, not into dreams, but into softness, sensation, the feel of the sheets, the pillow under your cheek, the blanket's weight, the comfort of stillness. You breathe in, out, slower. Now, easier. The storm sings its lullaby. Rain, wind, the low, rolling murmur of thunder. You begin to float, not quite dreaming, not quite thinking, just drifting. And in this quiet space, a thought arises, gentle and clear. You are not alone, not just here, in this room, but across time. Women before you have walked these same worn floors, breathed these same tired sighs, felt these same private hopes and resigned truths. The world changes, the names, the dresses, the rules, but the shape of it, this life persists. And somehow that thought does not weigh you down. It lifts you softly, like a hand on your back, guiding you into sleep. You let go, breath by breath, moment by moment. The work is done. There is nothing more to be, nothing more to do. Just this, just sleep. Warm, safe, rested. Sleep now, and sleep well.